Hello everyone, and welcome to the newest element of the Finished Loading Lazy Loading plugin. This element is trigger when visible. We're going to take text element and I'm going to say is visible. And we'll remove the style from this, make it bigger so we can read it. And we're going to give this an ID attribute of scroll12. We'll copy that. Now, you're going to know when this is visible or not. So we're going to go to this trigger when visible element, place it on our page, and this ID attribute needs to match the ID attribute that we just gave to the is visible text box. So that's scroll12. Leave everything else the same. And we're going to preview this. So right now we can inspect it, and we can go to our trigger when visible, and we can see that it says no. Stop inspecting. We scroll down, inspect it again, and it says yes. So go back here and make this a little easier to read. We're going to insert some dynamic data. I'm going to go trigger when visible is visible, and we're going to take this and we're going to set the visible percentage to 100%. Well, and we'll reload our page. Scroll to the top, and we'll reload our page. So now we can scroll down. It is visible, no, and this is because we're not 100% on the page. As soon as we get 100% on the page, changes to yes, and it will always be there. Always yes now. So move this all up a little bit. Now we're going to turn on the trigger more than once function, and we'll go back and we'll reload our page. So we have no, yes, and then no as soon as it starts to disappear. As soon as we scroll back, it changes to yes, and back to no, and back to yes. So what this does is this visible percentage. If I were to set this to 50%, when the element becomes 50% visible on the page, or starts to scroll off the page and is less than 50% visible, this will trigger, but only when you have trigger more than once on. If you don't have trigger more than once turned on, it will only trigger when it first becomes visible on the user's page. Now you can use this to cascade a page. So as you're scrolling and elements start to become visible on the page, just like in the finished loading thing, you start showing them in sequence, your page will load. Now the huge benefit to this, besides the obvious visibility and showing and hiding elements on the page, is that you can use it to increase your Lighthouse scores on your Google Developers Console. So if you open the Google Developers Console and you go to this next thing, you can open this, by the way, by right-clicking and clicking Inspect, or clicking Control-Shift-I. We go over here and we expand this, and we go to Lighthouse, and you hit Generate Report, and you want to keep it on mobile. It's going to give you the most accurate depiction of how your site is going to perform for the majority of users. Desktop will give you better scores, but a lot of people will access your site on mobile, so that's the one we really care about. When you run this, using this and testing with this plugin, you can figure out how to greatly boost your Lighthouse score. In one of the apps I was working on, our Lighthouse score was 12. By using this plugin, Finished Loading Lazy Loading plugin, and these features, I was able to boost that score up to 34. Now, those are terrible numbers for most websites, but in Bubble, that is very, very good. So, happy building.